This may not look like a typical farm, but our plants bloom in every corner of the state. From flowers to decorations, to fruits and vegetables, even homemade jellies and jams, we take pride in producing the best for you.
You may ask why we do this. Like my parents, we love what we do and plan to pass on our family business to future generations. It's our way of life, providing for our family and yours, the farm families of Mississippi.
Well, Chris, the first thing I want to get to is Clark and Palmero didn't do it. Dubose and those guys didn't do it. But now Rowdy and TA, 3 Omaha appearances. I mean, what does it say about their legacy at Mississippi State that they've never ended a season anywhere other than Omaha, Nebraska?
Yeah, it's pretty special. And we spoke about it in our office today. Like, there's no way Tanner and Rowdy are going out with an L in this ballpark. And I like having the odds of them being on our team, playing for what we were playing for. And it's pretty special. I mean, when you look up and you see what they've done in their career, it's just a never say die attitude. And they were both really good tonight.
We'll stay with Steve.
It's a challenge of every team in America trying to win a national championship to find a third starter and get production out of the bottom third of the order. Tonight, you got both. And I mean, how does that feel kind of going to Omaha thinking you got some production down there at the bottom of the order, but also, too, you may have identified your third guy?
Yeah, Hootie was good. I mean, there were a lot of decisions last night. We're sitting and watching games, and, I get a text message, as I'm watching some of the games last night from Landon Sims. Coach, I'm ready. You can use me any way you want me. And I'm sitting on my couch, and I knew that meant we could extend him. He early in the year he was throwing 60, 70 pitches a appearance. So, but we felt like getting started with Hootie, going through the lineup once or twice. Our goal was to get 5. We got 4. We just felt like Landon would be a good matchup. Obviously, he's a good matchup against anybody, but these guys were hot. I mean, they're not only are they talented, but they were hot, and we had to show them some different looks tonight.
Up next, we'll go to Joe Cook.
Yeah, Coach, after last night's game and that first homer, was there any doubt, or after the end of the second inning, were you more at ease just with how the game was going and the energy that the guys were just playing?
Well, you're never at ease. I mean, even in the second when we scored the runs and used the bullpen, Notre Dame, if you go back and look through their year, they've had some big come from behind, 8 or 9 runs in the 9th inning or 8th inning. So we knew they weren't going to stop, and we knew that offense, the way they were hitting, could do some things. But I felt good for the fact that we ran through their best bullpen arms, there in the second. Their starter came back from Friday, and he pitched great. I wasn't sure he was going to be able to do that. But going into the game, the advantage that we had was bullpen depth, and it paid off in tonight's game.
Up next, we'll go to Courtney Graub.
Coach, 3 straight appearances, 2 underneath you. How have you been able to help build Omaha into your team's culture?
Well, it was here when we got here. And obviously, when you decide to go to Mississippi State, you're going to a program that's the aspiration. That's why we have the ballpark we do, the fan base we do. Our goal is to keep it moving and keep it moving forward. And the nice part is all these young players in the program right now, they've experienced it, they've won it, and that just continues to grow and sets the expectation even higher. And that's where I'm thankful, that Tanner and Rowdy decided to come back. I'm so happy for them. And last year at this time, we didn't know what they were going to do, and coming back and being able to go to Omaha, for a third time with the park packed, and just makes up for a lot that we lost last year.
Up next, we'll go to Joe Coleman.
Chris, you kind of hit on what I was going to ask you there a little bit, but just to build on that, I mean, there is a lot of looking at Tanner and looking at Rowdy, but when you look at what you guys have done, I mean, a lot of these guys had never played a postseason game until a week or 2 ago, and now you get those contributions tonight from Houston and Logan and Landon and a lot of names that haven't done it. I mean, I guess, can you expound on that, just how important that is for the culture of the program to just have those guys that, okay, next year there's going to be freshmen come in, and a lot of guys have experienced all this already.
It's huge. I mean, experience, you can't substitute for it. I mean, our guys, the expectation in that clubhouse when it comes from Tanner and Rowdy and Josh and Spencer and Riley, those older kids, this is where you're supposed to be. And this is where, we spoke all week, and then we spoke last week. This is where Mississippi State's supposed to be. If we're not here, everybody's disappointed. And it's not like that everywhere in the country. There's high expectations for coaches, high expectations for players, and we understand that. And I just, like I said, it's that experience for those young kids. Even a Cade Smith running out last night and getting 3 outs, and I mean he's going to be a great player in this program. Just so many of our young guys being a part of this, and even the ones who didn't play, they're gonna benefit from this down the road, and it's exciting. And it's like I said, it's I'm thankful for the older guys. They've done a tremendous job of leading this team in the locker room, but also on the field.
Let's go back to Steve.
Chris, I know you're not ready to come out of the clouds just yet, but what's the rest of the week look like for you guys? And how do you get these young guys out of the clouds a little bit and kind of get them ready to go play a ball game and kind of get over the fact that they're headed to TD Ameritrade Park for the first time?
Well, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning we have camp, so if any of you guys want to come and help with camp, but we got great ball players coming to hang out, and then they have tomorrow off. So we gave them tomorrow off. I think, don't quote me, we'll practice Wednesday morning. We'll get a good lift Wednesday around the midday, and then we'll probably be flying out Wednesday afternoon, and I think we play Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a busy week and no rest. But it's just been a stressful weekend. I feel like they need a day off, and they usually respond pretty well after the day off, and we'll get a good practice and get ready to play great baseball.
Let's go to Gary Graves.
Coach, I guess since the SEC tournament, what kind of things have you seen from your offense in terms of how they're approaching, hitting, approaching pitches? Do they seem to be more patient, maybe yesterday aside?
Yeah, I think so. Yesterday was a tough day. Their guy pitched really good, and I give him a lot of credit. We hit a lot of balls hard, and they play great defense. So they really stuffed us yesterday and made some plays on us. The SEC tournament, I don't know. We did face, I think Florida's number one and Tennessee's number one, and we were behind. So I don't know how much that is. I didn't feel like we pitched good there. It's just hard to hit from behind, especially you're facing really good guys. And we've moved past it, and these guys have been great in the postseason. They have, we have a great offense, and we have great offensive coaches and Coach Goat and Coach Cheese, and they have a great game plan every day. And that's what you see that happens today is it's game plan, taking pitches away from pitchers, making them work, and our guys execute it every time.
All right, guys, we have time for a few more. Up next, we'll go to Tyler Porca.
Well, first of all, Chris, this is my last day working for the Ledger, so I'll pass on that 9 a.m. camp.
Yeah.
But getting back to the game, it felt like in the first 2 games of the series, you guys were kind of chasing, especially early on. And tonight, you guys get 6th in the second there. Just how big was that inning, especially with 4 of those 6 coming with 2 outs?
Yeah, it's huge. Because you need a cushion against these guys. It is a really good offense over there. So, you never feel comfortable. Even in the 9th. I just feel like these guys have played such great baseball over the last couple of weeks and really the whole year. They won the ACC by like 4 games or something, or 4.5 games. They just know how to win is what they do. So for us to spread it, and we kept talking about expanding it the whole game. So, and congratulations. It's really cold up there. So I've played up there, and there's no spring. It just goes winter to summer. So have fun.
Yeah, I've lived in Texas and Mississippi all my life, so I don't think I'm ready for that.
Well, that was me too, going to Indiana. It's a great town. You'll enjoy it.
Appreciate that.
Up next, we'll go to Robbie Falk.
Coach, expectations is one thing, but it's really difficult to get to Omaha, as you know. To do it 3 straight times is a big deal, but how much of a grind has this season in particular been? You had a couple of guys that have been here, but you're also playing a lot of guys in that lineup that haven't played against SEC teams. You had some holes that you've had to fill, and some of them you're still kind of tinkering around a little bit. How difficult has this been, and does it make you even more proud that you've been able to accomplish this, your team's been able to accomplish this?
Yeah, it's probably one of the hardest years of my career, not wins and losses, but the COVID piece has just been crazy all year long. Just you're always kind of worried about it or whatever, and having to go through all those protocols and traveling on different buses and worried about your team. In the fall was just so different. And coaches, we like to control everything. We want everything controlled, and a lot wasn't controlled. A lot was on the player this year, and our guys were very responsible how they handled themselves. And lineup-wise, we just had some young guys. We had a lot of pitchers trying to keep guys happy, trying to get the right guys going. That was tough in itself, but it's all worth it once you get to this point and you're playing well. And I'm really, when you sit in that dugout and I hug my coaches, I know how excited they are, but I see all these guys, the ones going for the first time. And, man, it brings a joy to you because you know how special it is. And not many kids get to play in Omaha. And some of these kids, like you said, have played 3 years. And some of these kids are going for the first time. So we got to get over the shell shock of that first-timers going there and being ready to go out there and play good baseball.
Let's go to Rick Cleveland next.
Yeah, Chris, Link was pretty emphatic about the crowd and the atmosphere making a big difference over the weekend. Your thoughts on that?
It's a big difference. It's he told me before the game, he said, I've never been, and he's coaching this league and he's done, and he just he made some very complimentary statements before the game. And man, it's why you play all year. People always ask me what our goal is, and obviously our goal is to win the national championship, but as we start our seasons, it's always to host. It's always to be a national seed. We want to win the SEC, we want to win the SEC tournament, but we want to go to Omaha and we want to win it. And to do that, you almost have to host. And if we host, it becomes a huge advantage for us. We have the best fans in the country. Not even close. They wouldn't leave after the game tonight. They're probably getting trouble from their families, but they're all still sitting out there. When I walk out there, you'll still see people out in the ballpark or in the parking lots, and this is what they live for. That's why we have a stadium like this, is because of the fan base. And it's not from what we've been doing here. It's been happening for 25 or 30 years, and it's special to be a part of it. Never do I take it for granted being the head coach here. It's an honor. It's every day we come to work. It's an honor to be able to coach here and coach in a program with this much tradition.
We'll go to Shotgun Spratling and then end with Steve Robertson.
Chris, where did you see the difference between the two teams in postseason experience this weekend?
I thought the first game, the crowd got to them a little bit, but then they came out and beat us like a drum yesterday. So I don't know. There was a mature team, an old team. I felt like our bullpen depth helped us today. That was the biggest thing. Is we had more of a longer pitching staff maybe, and we were able to use our guys and not have to use. We hadn't had to use Landon too much over the weekend. I think that was it. I don't think experience or anything like that. I just think it was the bullpen. We were better there this weekend.
Then we'll end with Steve.
You mentioned the tradition, the expectations. Is it more of a relief sometimes to kind of get there, because when you take this job at Mississippi State, it's not, hey, we want to go host a regional, we want to go win a national championship. You knew that when you signed up. And so is it a big relief just to kind of get there and kind of keep the dream alive, or kind of how would you describe that?
It's a big relief. You probably hit it on the head, just getting into Omaha and being the last ticket out there, you're sitting around today and the whole country's watching. And for me, like I said, I've had an opportunity. I've been blessed to be there many times, but for our kids to be there, I didn't want Tanner Allen going off this field, not going to Omaha, or Rowdy Jordan, or Will Bednar, who he's had part of his career last year cut short, and I want him to have an opportunity to pitch in Omaha and experience it all. That's why, like we said it earlier, that's why you come here. And so it is a relief, but we got work still to do. And that's what we challenged our guys with afterwards. And we got great opponents that we'll have to play. Everybody's playing good baseball. We have to go out there and play at a high level, and we have to get our kids, focused on that.
Obviously a pretty big day for you, but the thing that I think about too is when did you find out you were going to start, and how prepared were you mentally to go out there and pitch as well as you did?
I found out last night around probably an hour or so after the game. Coach Foxhall called me and asked me if I was busy today around 6 o'clock, and I told him I wasn't. So, but as far as mentally wise, this is something that I've dreamed about, since the time I picked up a baseball, since the time I started watching college baseball. So I think that piece was already taken care of.
Up next, we'll go to Theo DeRosa.
Houston, you were at Itawamba Community College. Did you ever think you'd be headed here to the College World Series?
A bit at a loss for words, but it's just something I could always see for sure happening, especially with the talent that we have on this team. The people, the arms, the bats, just all around, yes, definitely can see it.
Up next, we'll go to Rick Cleveland.
Yeah, Houston, just tell me, what is it like to pitch in this atmosphere?
Unreal, indescribable adjectives. I mean, I could go on for days. The fans are unreal. They brought the energy every single day, and I'm just so excited that we were able to get it done for them.
Up next, we'll go to Robbie Falk.
Hootie, this is an offense that you're not going to shut down. They're going to get some runs. They're going to get on the bases. But you did exactly what they needed you to do. You limited the damage. You gave up a couple of runs, but they never had that big inning when you were in there. How did you kind of assess how you were able to attack them while also limiting them today?
Yeah, I think that was probably the biggest piece, was just getting in there and making sure they didn't have that big inning, you know. Hats off to them, though. They did a wonderful job all weekend. They're a great team. They're hot. Very, very difficult to throw to, I will say. But, you know, I trust my defense, and I think that's what it goes back to the most, is just being aggressive in the strike zone, attacking, getting ahead, and just letting them play behind me.
We'll go back to Steve.
Who do you mention, too? I mean, your whole life, these are the moments you dream of. I mean, a chance to dogpile on the field and a chance to go to Omaha. Now that you've done it, how does it feel? Does it meet your expectation? I mean, or is it just describe what you're feeling right now?
The Lord has blessed me tremendously, man. Everything I ever wanted, absolutely everything I ever thought it would be. Like I said, it's really hard to describe, but yeah, just an unreal feeling.
All right, guys, we have time for a couple more. We'll go to Joel Coleman next.
Houston, I know that, you know, the last 3 College World Series, now Mississippi State's been in all of them, the only program in the country to do that. I know this, for you and for several of you, this will be your first trip to Omaha, but I'm curious, what's it like to come into a program like this that has built a standard of year after year? This is kind of the expectation, and what kind of, when you see this crowd and you know the expectation, I mean, what's that like as a player to come into all this and have that pressure to deliver and then to do it?
Well, like you said, there's that expectation, and I think that a big piece is just going out there and doing what you've been doing since you got on campus. And I think that our coaches do a great job of you know, putting that winning mentality in us, and making sure we all know that is the standard and that is what we expect to do every single year. So it's just been an honor to be a part of it.
We'll end with Gary Graves.
How do you all see, I guess if you look at this field, the World Series field, how do you feel about your chances and with 3 SEC teams in it? It's like, how balanced is it? You know, maybe even though this is new for you.
You know, I think we got as good a chance as anybody. I know I'm excited. Everybody's pumped, but I think it'll just be go out there and just play the style of baseball we've been playing all year. I don't think that the pressure will really get to anybody like that. I think that we'll just, you know, come in and play relaxed baseball, play loose baseball for each other like we have all year.
Hello, team. You've grown up a Mississippi State guy your whole life, and you've been able to watch this on television, and now that you've had the opportunity to do it yourself, what does it feel like to dogpile at Dudy Noble Field?
It's an incredible feeling. First couple seconds are fun, then after that it gets a little crowded, a little uncomfortable to say the least, but it was really fun, and I'm glad I got to do it with my boys.
Up next, we'll go to Tyler Porca.
Yeah, Logan, obviously you got one of the biggest hits and one of the biggest innings of the game, but what did it feel like to hit that 3-run home run and just kind of take us through that at bat in that moment?
He had gone fastball a couple times, and he went to the changeup, and I hadn't seen the slider yet, and I had a feeling he was going to go slider 1-2, and I saw it up, and I was able to put a good swing on it, and it felt like it was a really good swing as soon as I took it, and it went out, and I kind of blacked out after that.
Up next, we'll go to Theo DeRosa.
Logan, just being able to put together that 6-run in the second inning, how big was that for just setting the tone early after the night offensively you guys had yesterday?
It was huge for the offense to get going and to give the pitcher some breathing room to be able to work and just work in the zone without having to worry about giving up a solo home or anything like that. And I think it was huge for the confidence of the offense as well.
We'll go back to Steve.
Well, see, you and I had a conversation back at the beginning of the season, and you said your goal as a team was to be the last team to win. It's been a lot of miles under the bridge since then, but now here you are. You've taken that next step in a journey. How does it feel to accomplish this goal, but also to understand everything you want still right in front of you?
It's awesome, but we still have to play our best baseball, and it's ahead of us, and we're ready to get to Omaha and go after it.
Let's go to Joel Coleman next.
I asked Houston a similar question, Logan, but I mean, 3 straight College World Series appearances. No one else in the country has done that right now at the moment, longest streak in the country. And the cast of characters have changed. Jake was here and gone, and this is your guys, some of you guys' first rodeo with this. I mean, from your experience, why do you think this program can have the turnover it has, but yet still have the consistency year after year? I mean, either knocking at the door or here you are 3 straight times headed north.
I think it's just culture, and the culture around here is to win and to go as far as you can, and I just think the culture here is great, and it's probably the best in the country if I had to say so.
Up next, we'll go to Robbie Falk.
Logan, bouncing off Steve's question, what he said about one of your quotes, I think when you hit a walk-off home run or whatever it was earlier in the season, you said it was do or die, and y'all didn't want to die. Y'all are kind of in the same situation tonight. It just seemed like the plate discipline was better, but also y'all were aggressive as well. How did you feel like y'all were able to attack that early in this game, and what changed from yesterday?
I think we were just more disciplined today, laying off pitches out of the zone and trying to hit our pitch instead of trying to hit their pitch, and just having good approaches at the plate. It really helped.
All right, guys, we have time for a couple more. Let's go back to Theo.
Logan, you got an extended look at him today, but you mentioned, I think on Twitter a few weeks ago, that it's fun to catch Landon Sims. How hard is it to catch Landon Sims, and why is it so fun, and why is it so difficult?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's hard because he just throws it where I put my mitt, and that makes it really easy. But he's definitely the most fun to catch for sure. He's just always locked in. His stuff's always good, and it's a blast.
And then we'll finish with shotgun sprattling.
Logan, you said that the standard that's being created is because of the culture. What creates that culture? What is done in the off season that gives you guys that culture that you're able to produce like you have?
Just trying to get better every day and continue to get better every day, every week, every month. Every time you step on the field, you're just trying to get better. And I think that creates just a great culture to be a great team and a great program.
Well, you opened the regular season with a 4-inning stint against Texas, and then you close out this one with a lengthy one too, a little more on the line this time. But how comfortable were you out there, and how do you feel right now?
I was pretty comfortable. I was telling people all day once I got the ball in the bullpen, in the word that I was going in the next inning. All my nerves were going to flush away. So I was nervous there for a while. The past 2 days. Hasn't been much sleep, hasn't been much eating. I'm a little bit of a anxiety king over here, but once I got the ball, it was a lot of fun.
Up next, we'll go to Tyler Porca.
Yeah, Landon, that was obviously the first home run you've given up all season, and like Steve said, in a 4-run or a 4-inning outing, it came kind of early, and that you get quite a few outs after that to secure the win. Just kind of what's your mentality when you see that go over the fence, and how do you bounce back to get those outs and take it home to the finish line?
Hats off to that guy. He's a really good baseball player. If there's anybody right now that I would not be extremely mad about giving up a home run to, it would be him. But I was 3-1 in that count, and I'd walked the previous guy on 4 pitches. It allowed me to reset. Hit the reset button a little bit. I think it came at the best time possible if it were to come at a good time.
Up next, we'll go to Matt St. Jane.
Hey, Landon, on the flip side of that, he's the one that grounded into the double play to end the ball game. So what was your mindset going into that at bat, especially with 2 runners on, and how good did it feel when that last out was made?
Me and Logan were just talking about it, but, I wasn't going to throw him another fastball. I had really good feel for my slider right there in the last 2 innings. If I knew if I located it well, I had a chance for him to roll over it. Any out right there was big. but that double play was huge, and it sent us on our way to Omaha.
Let's go back to Steve.
And it's pretty clear Notre Dame came to swing the bats. I mean, they didn't take a lot of pitches, and they were very aggressive. I mean, do you feel like in some ways that kind of plays into your hands a little bit when you have some guys that maybe are a little bit overly aggressive and you can kind of get that fastball? But how would you just kind of describe attacking those guys when they're such free swingers?
It makes you attack them even more because they can hit the ball so well. So, you don't want to put anybody on base. They're extremely disciplined too. They spit on good pitches a lot of the time. And every mistake we threw this weekend, it seems like they, either hit a hard line drive in the gap or found a way to get it over the fence.
Up next, we'll go to Courtney Graub.
Yeah, for a guy who calls himself an anxious king, I'm sure I can speak for everyone when I say you can't really tell it when you're out there on the bump. How do you stay so collected when you're actually in that big of a moment?
The moment, it's big, but it's the same game I've been playing since I was 3 years old. That's never going to change. The rubber's still 60 feet, 6 inches away from home plate, and I still got to throw it over the plate to get out. So, I try and not get too big for either moment, whether it's too big or too small. It's just a game, and, the stakes were a little bit higher, but just keeping my cool out there and trying to throw it over the plate was the main goal.
All right, guys, we have time for a couple more. Let's go to Rick Cleveland next.
Yeah, Landon, you said Saturday night that if you teed one up, that Cavadas would hit it 450 feet. Maybe you did. Have you ever given up one like that far before?
Not off the top of my head. He got all of that ball. You just got to tip your hat and throw the next pitch. But no, I don't think I've ever given up a home run that far.
All right, we'll end with Joel Coleman.
Landon, what's it say about this program that it doesn't matter year in, year out, the cast of characters change, but yet every single year, the last 3 years, it's gone to Omaha, and then there's been supers the last half decade, and all the stats to this point. What's it say about this program that no matter who puts on that maroon and white, it just seems like there is, I guess, as Logan said, a culture there. And I guess when does that set in for you as a player?
It's a standard here. As soon as you put pen to paper, that you're coming to play baseball at Mississippi State, to get here in this situation, it's the standard. 2 years ago when they were hosting Stanford here and made it to Omaha, my parents were like, "Hey, you want to take a trip to Omaha?" And I was like, let's save the money because I have a really good feeling that we might take a trip or two to Omaha while I'm here.